a sunny and hopeful yellow, an introspective turquoise, and a resting and passionate red. Since the introduction of color in the film industry, apart from the beauty and aesthetics, filmmakers have been using it as a tool for storytellings and emotions. Each color can have a distinct meaning, and by combining them, directors make it easier for audience to visualize a story that they want to convey. Color can communicate emotions, seasons, social class, or even character development. While many directors have used color to highlight certain moments of the movie or to set particular mood, no one used it quite the way Hayao Miyazaki does. It is no coincidence that Studio Ghibli's founder received the love and admiration from audiences of all ages. His movies have shaped the Japanese anime industry and how the rest of the world perceives it.
Our next movie is quite simply a masterpiece. It's Spirited Away, the amazing new animated feature by Hayao Miyazaki.
Spirited Away, Hayao Miyazaki.
Miyazaki has frequently been cited as the inspiration for numerous animators, directors, and writers, praising the depth and industry of his films. A pioneer in his own right, Miyazaki's work revolves around humanity's relationship with nature, arts and craftsmanship, and spiritual partners. The protagonists of his films are often vulnerable young girls with redeeming qualities who got thrown into a violent world. Behind the humane stories, the most special features in all of Hayao Miyazaki films is perhaps his attention for visual elements. Moreover, his artistic use of color. Not only do the colors in Miyazaki's film work to depict beautifully vibrant landscapes, but in a fantasy story with little dialogue, they also work as a sense of communication to make the situations of the film clearer and immerse audiences in a deep emotional experience of each character on screen. Every film, every world, every story is built in a unique set of watercolor-like palette, a practice that comes from his long-time collaboration with the color designer Mitsuyo Yasuda. This palette is used throughout, creating an unmistakable visual identity for each scene. And by simply introducing a new color to an already established scene, the viewer is left notified if there is a shift in story or mood or introduction of new element. Perhaps the movie that adopts this philosophy the best is My Neighbor Totoro.
Hey, let's go! Hey, let's go!
Set in a rural area of Japan back to the 50s with great peacefulness and harmony natural landscape. In the movie, Satsuki and Mei are sisters who just have moved to the countryside along with their family. Since then, the pair of sisters start their joyful lives in a new place and explore the wonderful world around them. They then encounter Totoro, the spiritual tree guardian of Japanese culture, and enjoy the fantasy adventures with the figure. In the opening scene of the movie, Hayao successfully depicted the beautiful landscape that the movie was set in by using naturalistic colors. Green with hues for the trees and grass brings a sense of peacefulness and abundance of forests. The blue skies and the pure white clouds, on the other hand, signify the world of purity and cleanness. The brown and gray shade of soil and field come along as irreplaceable factors for nurturing lives on Earth. All these color elements overall draw a world where nature, people, and also spiritual creatures living together in peace, and narrated in the following part of the movie. In the movie, Hayao and his crew also narrate the story by meticulously choosing the color of the outfits for the characters. Throughout the film, we can notice that almost only Mei and Satsuki dress in purple, pink, and yellow most of the time. The uses of those colors with warm tones has successfully not only represented their characteristics as naive and energetic, but also blended the sister into a vivid and harmonious idyllic scenery. The application for the color choice is also highlight these two characters as they wear almost in the warm tone colors, while the natural background is in cool tones. The figure of Totoro is represented as a spiritual character in Japanese culture that is protecting the trees and forests. Based on that faith, Hayao colored Totoro with deep blue, green, and mostly gray. While green and blue stand for natural elements like trees and rivers, the gray color brings the sense of mystery and spiritual to attract audiences' attention in every frame Totoro appears. Beside those main characters, the colors for the clothes for some supporting characters are also carefully chosen. You can notice that the father dresses mostly in red, based on the phenomenon that red usually represents strength, warmth, and passionate love. The granny and mother of the two sisters always appear in blue, the color which stands for soft, calmness, liability, and sincerity. While the mother in the film always shows her pure love for the two sisters, Granny shows herself as a dedicated woman who takes care of May and her sister when the parents are away. Throughout the film, yellow light color has been used several times to help light up the mood in narration. According to the color psychology, yellow is usually used to convey warmth, happiness, joy, and excitement. In the scene, we can see that May and Satsuki were waiting for their dad to come home at the bus stop. The surrounding color with gray and gradient brown tells that it was raining heavily at the raining sunset. In this scene, the harmonious green of the forest is desaturated to a very sad gray shade that covers almost the scenery. However, the yellow light that comes from above in the bus stop was still covering Satsuki and her sister. The sense of yellow in the scene keeps the color of the two characters intact, the blow of a very cozy breath into the scene, keeping May and Satsuki safe in the audience's mind despite the surrounding. This yellow tone once again appeared in the ending scene, when May and Satsuki sit and laugh happily in the cat bus. With the yellow light cover up the frame with the two characters positioned in the center, the scene opened up a happy and fulfilled ending for the film. The same approach that Hayao used color as a storytelling tool was once again presented in Miyazaki's latest features, The Wind Rises. The film is a heartfelt story about the life of the airplane genius Horikoshi Jiro. Excited and unable to become a pilot, Jiro joins the engineering company during the World War II, where he begins to work on a model that goes on to be an iconic A6M0 fighter plane, changing the face of Japan's aviation forever. The Wind Rises is Studio Ghibli's second film about World War after The Grave of the Fireflies. If the latter shows the cruel and harsh reality of war on innocent people, The Wind Rises instead focuses on the beauty of human creativity in the most difficult circumstances. Mr. Miyazaki used natural and close colors to retell the story of a young man with strong aspirations. Thereby, we find ourselves in the film thanks to the pleasant images but full of humanity. At the beginning of the movie is a quiet landscape, then focus on the bungalow, with two children sleeping peacefully. Hayao gave the impression of the two different personalities through the color of the sleepwears. Jiro, the main protagonist in the film, wears his costume almost exclusively in blue. Her blue is associated with optimistic thinking, showing the spirit of the innocence and purity. But most important of all, this is the color of the sky. The thoughts of yellow are varied, both expressing happiness and relaxation. The image of a little girl wearing a yellow skirt and a white-brimmed hat makes her feel cute, playful, and mischievous. Besides, Jiro and the hobo's wedding also become sparkling and mysterious in the lack of simplicity of the situation at the time. Purple, magenta, red, light pink, all these colors are associated with romance, love, and passion. The child affection between the two characters has become the flirtation. Later, we learn the direction's intention in choosing the colors for the room and the costumes for the characters. Pink represents the innocence and purity of the girl. Green and wind both wake up a lot of confession. It brings memories and smiles. It also has the power to bring the new breath to the characters and audiences. One can feel the vitality in the images of the green and the brown of the earth. That's how the director Hayao adorned the landscape with the green of the leaves, the blue of the sky, when Jiro drove the airplane flying over a peaceful, gentle countryside. Next is the meanings associated with red are varied. But one thing is undeniable, that this is one of the most powerful colors when used on screen. On the one hand, red is used in a way of expressing aggressions, violence, or anger. The space filled with red signals tension and acts as a signal to the audience to focus attention. Something important is about to happen. The scenes depicting the great counter-earthquake of 1923, and particularly exemplified the expired statistic Joyce. The animation in conjunction with the vocalized sound effects gives the sense of the world that is alive, rippling, hissing, and grounding as it cracks apart. It really felt as though Namazu, the earthquake-causing fat fish of Japanese mythology, was stirring. The path of growth of Jiro, Naoko, Honjo, and his colleagues, and Jiro's frail health wife later show off the image of the young Japanese intellectual at the time. It is a generation that confidently chooses the path that follows its own heart and mind, that aspires to rise, that desire to contribute to changing the destiny of themselves and the country with college and sentimental hearts. So the next time you see a Miyazaki or Ghibli film, ask yourself a couple of questions. What does each color mean? Does the frame bring the feeling of intimidation, sorrow, or joyfulness? Were the colors symbolically or metaphorically used? It is impossible to not learn a thing or two from Hayao Miyazaki, who has proven to be a skillful storyteller and a master of his craft, through the way he uses color as a tool to communicate subtle ideas, at the same time inspires our emotional experience. That's why his films and character will always have a special place in our hearts and even generations to come.